Hey everyone, and welcome! Today we're going to dive into a really powerful two-step process that can take you from that feeling of total chaos, when you have way too much information, to the pure clarity of a brilliant idea. If you've ever felt completely stuck trying to come up with something new, well, this is for you. I mean, we've all been there, right? Someone tells you to innovate, to be creative, but you're just drowning in a sea of data, different opinions, and these half-baked thoughts. It's so frustrating. It feels like you're just wandering around, hoping to magically trip over a good idea. But here's the thing, and it's a big one. Innovation isn't about luck. It is absolutely not about accidents. It's about having a map. And today, we're looking at a core piece of the design thinking process that is that exact map, a structured, repeatable way to build incredible ideas every single time. So, our journey today has two really simple but powerful parts. First, we're going to cover the define phase. This is all about finding your focus. And then we'll jump into the ideate phase, which is where we unleash all that creativity. It's a super clear path from a messy problem to its potential solutions. All right, first up, the define phase. Think of this as cutting through all the noise to find the one core problem you actually need to be solving. The whole goal here is to create something called a point of view. You can think of it as your guiding star, your true north. It's not just a summary of your research. No, it's a single, powerful problem statement that you can actually do something about. So, okay, how do you get to that point of view? Well, it really boils down to three key activities. You have to evaluate all your findings to see what's actually important. Then you have to interpret them to figure out what they really mean. And finally, you weigh them against each other to uncover the most critical insights. And look, this isn't just about staring at spreadsheets and boring data points. It's about using really creative methods like storytelling or something called context mapping, which is basically just visualizing the entire world that your user lives in to build a compelling story out of all that mess. And this brings us to the final and honestly most crucial step of the define phase, how you frame your point of view. The goal is to turn your problem statement into a question that just blows the doors open to new possibilities, instead of shutting them down. And this is just a perfect example of how it's done. See, instead of saying something negative like, parents are too busy to cook, you flip it. You ask, how might we? That simple phrase is so optimistic, it's collaborative, and it just begs for creative solutions. You've just transformed a problem into an exciting challenge. Okay, now for step 2. With that perfectly framed question as our launch pad, we are ready to open the floodgates. It's time to generate some ideas. Welcome to the ideate phase. Now, this requires a huge mental shift. The define phase, remember, was all about convergence. It was about narrowing everything down to find that one right problem to solve. Now, in the ideate phase, we do a complete 180. We flip to divergence, going as wide and as wild as we possibly can to find many potential solutions. So ideation is that structured, problem-solving step where you really just let your creativity run wild. You use brainstorming, all kinds of techniques to generate a huge range of ideas. And you know what? The rule here, especially at the beginning, is quantity over quality. Go for broke. So, here's the most important takeaway. The quality of your brainstorming, of your ideas, depends directly on the quality of your how might we question. A vague problem statement, that's just going to lead to vague, unfocused ideas. But a sharp, insightful question, now that is the foundation for some real breakthrough solutions. So let's just quickly recap the entire path, okay? This is really your blueprint, your path to innovation. It's just this beautiful, logical flow, isn't it? You start by synthesizing all your findings into a crystal clear point of view. Then you frame that into an empowering how might we question. And only then, once that foundation is solid, do you start brainstorming solutions. Each step just builds perfectly on the one before it. And that right there is the magic of this process. It reliably takes you from the utter chaos of raw insight through the amazing clarity of a focused question, and then launches you into a world just full of creative solutions. It's structure that actually fuels creativity. It doesn't stifle it. It's kind of like a musician learning their scales. The rules don't limit them. They provide the foundation they need to freely improvise and create something amazing. So as we wrap up, I'm going to leave you with a little something to think about. Armed with this framework, what challenge in your work or even in your life looks a little different now? What messy, chaotic problem are you going to redefine first? Thanks so much for tuning in.